Recorded live from the mats of Radical MMA in New York City. The Martial Culture Podcast. Your source for in-depth combat sports and martial arts insights with Coach Rene and Matt Peters. Ring the bell and let's get it on.
You boxing your inner demons over there or your outer demons?
Nah, I'm doing the dental floss. I'm doing my dance. I'm dancing to the music.
Welcome to another episode of the Martial Culture Podcast where nobody flosses either our teeth or a dance. Our teeth are horrible.
It's great to see you, Mr. Peters.
Great to be back again. 2 weeks in a row, we're making it a thing.
A thing.
Yeah, we're not missing a day.
Yeah. And I unfortunately, I caught a little bit of a bug from a student. I was doing a private lesson with him, and he was like, I want to do a private lesson. I'm like, oh boy, this is going to be bad. And then sure enough, about an hour later, I'm like, oh, I don't feel so good.
Yeah.
And so I'm a little low energy.
Yeah, I'm going to have to remember to wash that windscreen.
Do you? Oh,
no, I'm kidding. We do wash them every day.
Okay.
And the earphones. Everybody's okay. There's no ticks or lice in here. The bed bugs, though.
Do you know, actually, that's a huge problem in the New York City movie theaters. For the guys who live in New York, the big theaters on 42nd Street, they're infested with bed bugs.
42nd Street?
Yeah, the AMC and all those big theaters.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not. They're infested. And a lot of people go to those theaters and then they bring them home to their apartments.
Oh, God.
Because they... originally they were using the very high potency chemicals, but those chemicals are slightly carcinogenic or something, so you're not allowed to use them anymore. So they're using less effective chemicals or not being as thorough, maybe, I don't really know. But there's a huge infestation of bed bugs all throughout the theaters in 42nd Street.
Disgusting.
Yeah, and they're old buildings. Those buildings have been there forever. So obviously there's vermin. And, it's New York City.
Well, you shouldn't go there anyways unless you're a tourist. It's too close to Times Square.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Right.
I go to the one in Battery Park. There's a theater.
It's a great theater.
It's a really nice theater, too, and reserved seating.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's really good.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of nice little restaurants around there. It's like a little, yeah.
There's a Shake Shack over there now.
There's Shake Shack everywhere.
Yeah. All right, back on topic. So we got some big fight.
But let me tell you,
let's talk about Shake Shack.
I don't think Shake Shack is as good as everybody says.
I don't think so either.
What's your favorite burger in New York?
Oh gosh,
like mass-produced burger, not like obviously we're talking Minetta Tavern. If you want a New York burger, you go to Minetta Tavern and pay like $50 for it. What's like the best burger?
Gosh, what's a good one? New York Burger Company.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I
yeah.
like them too. There's a place near me called BurgerFi, and they have that Beyond. This is for people health reasons. They have the new Impossible Burger. Yeah, and Beyond Meat.
I've never had it.
And both of them are actually like pretty good.
Yeah,
I was the Impossible Burger. I'm like, wow, this is like.
They have it at White Castle now.
I heard that.
There's no White Castle around here though. There was one on 35th, but it closed.
Oh, there's just in the burbs. But the Impossible Burger is actually like pretty freaking good. And
it looks good from everything I've heard.
No, and it bleeds too.
Yeah.
It has like a sense of that meaty umami kind of taste. And if you want to eat healthy and you want to have a burger, it's like kind of what I do. And there's a place near me, and very, very tasty.
I gotta try it.
Yeah, and for people who are interested in health, being healthy, the Impossible Burger and the Beyond Meat Burger. It's not as good, but pretty nice.
They put like 5 slices of bacon and cheese on top.
I know, right? No, I actually hate bacon.
You hate bacon? Get out of here!
Bacon. I hate bacon.
How do you hate bacon?
Okay, so I grew up with a father who loved bacon. And this is funny because he's Jewish, so, Jewish fail there. He wasn't really. But we would have bacon so much that both my sister and I, we just got sick of it. And I when I left for Japan, it's funny because my sister, when she left home, she became a vegetarian for 10 years just to detox from all the meat we ate.
Yeah.
And then I can't look at bacon.
Yeah, that happens.
And I'm just now starting to be able to eat it again, but I don't really enjoy it unless it's like, you know what, a BLT here and there is okay. Yeah. But
well, if you can avoid it, I mean, that's good.
Yeah.
My wife was a vegetarian when we met.
No kidding.
Was she a full vegan? I think she was a full vegan.
And you destroyed that.
Well, I remember the day it ended, and it was because of bacon. Because there was a sale at the supermarket where we lived. And
you were a saboteur.
The bacon was on sale for buy 2 packages, get 3 free. So I came home with 5 packages of
Merca.
bacon.
That's right there. Buy 2, get 3 free.
And she's just like, all right, I'm not a vegetarian anymore. That's just bacon.
Yeah, my sister eats meat now too. Like, I get slightly nauseous from bacon. The smell now.
Yeah.
I just had it
Anything
too much.
you have too much is.
But this
in
is first
excess,
world
yeah.
problems. Is such a whiny thing. Like I'm very lucky to have grown up in an environment as a child that we had enough
Ample
to
bacon,
eat.
yeah.
And ample bacon.
The bacon flowed like wine.
every freaking morning.
I ate too many raisins as a kid and threw up, so I can't eat raisins.
Oh, totally. I know what you mean. Like when you eat something and you vomit and then you just never want to see it again.
Skittles and vodka too.
Skittles and vodka. Is that a drink? Is that a
No, it's just Skittles 2 things I had separately that I threw up from.
That sounds like it'd be like, a Kavanaugh type drink.
I like beer. Oh boy, your daily dose of politics. So we got a big event coming up this weekend. Huge event.
Huge to go in the theme of Kavanaugh.
I mean there's a couple fights that are huge, and then there's a lot of ones that are good.
Well, there was an interesting fight this weekend, and also there's this stuff that happened over the weekend, which was really cool. I watched the Eddie Bravo Combat Jiu-Jitsu Championships, the middleweights.
Where is that? Where can you watch it?
It's on UFC Fight Pass.
Okay,
and I think you can also pay-per-view it or something.
Okay.
But we have Fight Pass, so we watched it. And unfortunately, the finals were uneventful because it was a loss by injury. Mm-hmm. But it was really cool to see non-MMA fighters now, because usually the guys that went into combat jiu-jitsu, they were MMA guys that just went into combat jiu-jitsu, basically the same that they're doing all the time. And I don't know if you guys know, but Wagner Hosha won the first tournament, the big one, the Worlds, and he won it by KO. That was the one in last year.
Is that rare in combat jiu-jitsu?
Well, there haven't been that many combat jiu-jitsu tournaments, but it is rare because obviously you're just slapping, you're not punching. But he just gave this guy, it's that Brazilian, slap. Yeah. Everybody fought a Brazilian, they have that slap where it's and he just slapped him unconscious, and or referee stopped semi-unconscious. And in this one, you actually had a very similar position where the guy tapped from bottom turtle. He was getting slapped, and he actually tapped out to the slaps. And in the finals, there was an injury, but it started where the attacker was on the bottom, and he was going into a position called deep half, where he dove under. And you really don't want to do that, because then he started eating a lot of slaps, and he really had to adjust. And then he wound up getting his back taken, but in the back take, the guy on top attacked with the Kimura grip. But then as the other guy was trying to get out of the grip, because he was so kind of flustered from the strikes, he moved, and he had a previous injury, I think, probably, but he wound up dislocating a shoulder or something, and they stopped it. But you can see this was one of the first tournaments where it was not MMA guys. There was a lot of guys from jiu-jitsu tournaments, the jiu-jitsu scene, who were doing combat jiu-jitsu. And I mean, there were some MMA guys in there too, but it was really a good mix of guys, and they were trying to play some of the more sportive positions. And you could see they're like, oh, I don't want to do that. A couple deep half and what's called koala guard, where you kind of sit on the guy's leg like a koala on a tree. And or when they did it, and I was surprised because there's a couple positions where I'm like, oh, I didn't think that would work. But they did it in a way that, and this reminds me of Ryan Hall. I don't know if you know Ryan Hall. He fought in the UFC a while ago. So Ryan Hall is a famous jiu-jitsu guy, and I really respect him. And he's kind of an interesting, curmudgeonly personality. Very much speaks his mind and doesn't hold anything back. But he is a thinker. He's an engineer by trade. And he's a thinker, so he has some of the most boring fights in the UFC, but tactical because he never gets hit. And there was one fight where he was just doing lots of diving 50-50 guard. And for the guys who don't know 50-50 guard, it's sort of like I lace my legs around your lace while you're around your leg. Like I lace my legs around your leg while I'm underneath you. Mm-hmm. And that's a very common sport jiu-jitsu position. But usually people would say 50-50 does not work in MMA because you get your face punched in. And that's what I thought. But Ryan Hall made a mobile 50-50 where he's constantly moving back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And so the guy couldn't hit him because he did a mobile 50-50 and then he finished with the heel hook. And he's really interesting style. So I saw kind of the same thing and he did that in the UFC. Mm-hmm. in the Ultimate Fighter, actually. But I saw the same thing in the jiu-jitsu where they're doing these positions where I was like, that's dangerous. But they would do it in a mobile way. So you're like, oh, I guess that could have some, but it's still risky. And what I saw was, it was really, really interesting. I hope everybody starts watching competitions. I hope it takes off because it's really something I believe in, where we can kind of start to keep it real and understand what is risky and what is not when punches are involved. And you see this, there was like on-the-job training. They're trying something that they usually do, and they're like, oh, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it did work. And there was a couple more leg locks than usual because in sport jiu-jitsu, there's ABI, regular ABI sport jiu-jitsu, which is no slaps, just submission only. There's a lot of leg locks. The number one finish right now in EBI is leg locks, right? But when the slaps happened, it went back to the old school UFC stats, which are basically rear naked choke is number one. And rear naked choke and guillotines and stuff like that, just like the UFC. But this one, you started seeing a little bit more leg attacks, and some of them were successful, and they had to eat punches as they did it. But you can see the evolution of their grappling, and it was really wonderful to see. Unfortunately, the final was a little bit not as exciting as you want it to be because of the injury, and there was a semifinal match where the guy kind of played to the time a little bit. But it was still cool, and it was, for me, it was much more interesting than watching straight sport jiu-jitsu because it's like, okay, this is grappling that will really work in a fight. And I really enjoyed it. That was that week. And then at the same time, we're flipping back and forth. Bellator happened, and there's the Rampage Silva fight, which is like, should never have happened. Mm-hmm. And then there was the Rory McDonald Gergard Mousasi match, which I think is one of the best matches that Bellator has put on. I'm not really a fan of Bellator, but Gergard Mousasi and Rory McDonald are both very high quality fighters. And it was a match where Mousasi just proved that he's still in it. He could go back to the UFC and be a champ, and he dominated from the mount. And just McDonald tried to do a leg lock again, got punched, got his guard passed, mounted, and then destroyed. And but it was a great fight. And it just shows that Bellator is on the right path, somewhat.
Yeah.
And today, today is actually Elio Gracie's birthday.
Happy birthday!
Yeah, he would be 105 today.
Wow. That's old.
Yeah, he's not old, but
not, yeah. Well, how long ago did he pass?
I think he passed 10 years ago, something like that.
So he was still pretty old when he...
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Yeah, maybe a little bit more than that. 11 years ago.
Well, happy birthday.
Yeah.
It's my partner Mike's birthday today, too.
No kidding.
Yeah, the owner of the studio. Happy birthday, Mike. He doesn't listen to this show. He's a jerk. Mike, you're a jerk. No, but that's great. And talk about pioneers of a sport, jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. I mean, we wouldn't have the MMA world we have today without Elio Gracie and his constantly challenging other styles. And now we have one of the biggest MMA fights coming up, Khabib versus McGregor, which is
UFC 229 this Saturday. Are you gonna? I don't usually buy the UFCs. This one I might buy.
I'm buying all of them.
All of them?
All of them, pretty much all of them. Because it is my job to study every major fight that happens.
That's true.
As a researcher.
Do you write it off?
I do. I absolutely do. Yes. Yeah, of course. But and I watch almost all the fight nights. And my wife and I, now that my wife is a practitioner, it's great because we watch together. But you have to see the evolution of the sport. And I really like watching the lighter weights. The last UFC had some really good fights, but it had a couple heavyweight. It had a heavyweight match that unfortunately, it wasn't as technical as I'd like. But the fights that really interest me are the lighter weights, basically 185 and lower. And sometimes the heavyweight fights are interesting.
I love that picture. It's Khabib on a bear chasing Conor McGregor.
But Khabib, he wrestled a bear when he was a kid. Yeah. But this fight is really interesting. It's classic grappler versus striker, but with a really big asterisk. And I am not a Conor McGregor fan. I cannot stand him.
No.
But Conor McGregor really embodies the warrior principles of Sun Tzu.
Conor McGregor does?
Yes.
Okay, explain.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a Sun Tzu quote. Okay. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Victorious warriors win first, then go to war, while defeated warriors go to war first, then seek to win. What Conor McGregor does, and Dana White said something that he thinks Conor McGregor is better than Ali at, trash talking. And I absolutely believe that. His ability to win the fight before the fight has happened is incredible. And he's done it so many times where with mental warfare, with trash talking, with finding the weakness before the fight has happened, that he can bring his A game, but his opponent brings their C game, is just unbelievable. Did not work on Nick Diaz as much, but what he did was he learned a tremendous amount from the fight and said, okay, strategically, and he has Kavanaugh on his corner, his coach, who is also a brilliant strategist. He's strategically, I'm going to find out where my opponent is weakest and always make sure I'm there. And Diaz is weak with the takedowns. So obviously, he would not allow Diaz to take him down, and also played a type of game that just played against Diaz's strengths. Diaz is a volume puncher, not a power puncher. Mm-hmm. So, but Conor McGregor is brilliant. He's brilliant, and I can't stand him, but he is brilliant. And I don't know if you heard the trash talking that he did to Khabib about his father.
Yeah,
it's crazy, but he really did some research. I don't know exactly what he said, but he made some pretty serious accusations of criminality and some things which you cannot help but get under your skin. Mm-hmm. And I'm really curious to see, because up until this point, Khabib seemed immune to it because of his lack of English ability.
He's getting better though.
Yeah, and and he's like, whatever, this guy's an idiot. I'm not listening.
Yeah,
and but now I think he might be rattled. He might be angry. He might come in and do something stupid.
Really?
And
you're gonna change my mind on who to back?
No, you're backing McGregor, right?
No.
Oh, you're backing Khabib?
Yeah. Are you going McGregor?
No, Khabib.
Yeah.
I even if I thought McGregor would win, I'd still back Khabib out of my heart. Not logic. Logic goes away here. Loyalty sometimes trumps logic.
I have two questions for you.
Yeah.
And wait till I ask both before you answer them. Is Conor McGregor good for the UFC? Mm-hmm. Is he good for MMA?
Those are great questions. And in the short term, I would say yes. And in the long term, I'd say absolutely not.
For both questions?
Yeah, especially for MMA.
Yeah.
And we touched on this with Chris in our last interview. And Chris, he refuses to watch the UFC because it's becoming a little bit more razzle-dazzle and prize fighting rather than, a sport like, okay, let's take martial arts out of the equation. Let's look at the basketball, baseball. There's some expectation of our and even NFL, there's an expectation of our athletes to act a certain way, for better or for worse. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where the Colin Kaepernick issue comes in, where there's a conservative base that expects football players to act a certain way. I'm not saying that, that's wrong or anything like that. But, who gets to be on the Wheaties box? It's not the trash talking guy. It's the guy who is a role model to the kids. Who Mark McGuire in my day was, until the steroid accusations, but he was like the hero because he was kind of like, really nice guy and this
All-American boy.
All-American, right. Lance Armstrong, same thing. Sure. Obviously the real Lance Armstrong was something different, but there was a persona there. Even if it was false, there was an attempt to put a persona forward that had some social merit. Work hard, do your best. These values that are important. Mm-hmm. Don't be arrogant. Be humble.
When did that switch? When did the American ideal go from Mark McGuire on a Wheaties box, be all-American boy that eats your Wheaties, to Conor McGregor, swear at people, yell, and dress fancy?
That is a great question. I don't follow so many sports, but I would say because the prize fighting, boxing prize fighting, really had a little bit of that, always in it. The showmanship and the trash talking. And while Muhammad Ali is definitely had his values and he loved to trash talk, he loved to kind of play the game, he loved to have a little bit of razzle dazzle, and you found that. Well, I guess it's influenced maybe of a few things. One, that we find that the pro wrestling heel, and Ronda Rousey knew this too, a lot of MMA fighters, that if people hate you, they're more likely to pay money to watch you. Mm-hmm. And I think it might have to do with something in sports, and I can't speak to this overall, but, free agency, I think, changed sports in a lot of ways because the salaries of individual sportsmen, regardless of the sport, became much higher. So the more they can generate their own personal brand, the more personal, then their salaries command more, regardless of performance. Because there's a lot of guys like Dennis Rodman in my day who wasn't that great, but he was commanding a lot of money because he was a personality. Shaquille O'Neal, these guys, I don't even know basketball, but they had a brand that they created. And the brand can be positive, like Michael Jordan was more, All-American type guy.
Not anymore.
What happened with Michael
he's
Jordan?
got a lot of allegations and stuff.
Of what?
Well, he cheated on his wife like tons of times. He has lots of kids that aren't his wives, and
you see,
allegedly.
Yeah, right. And again, it's I'm not saying it's who they are. I mean, it's like Bill Cosby. He had this persona of like, this is
it's all cultivated.
It's cultivated, right? And to some extent, you could say they're hypocritical, but at the same time, there is a social merit to say these are the values that we would like you to uphold. And this is very Japanese, and so I'll give you an example, and then we can get back to the fight because you don't want to hear me talk about this. But an interesting thing in Japanese, when Westerners go to Japan, they feel Japanese are very two-faced because Japanese will be very nice to you, even if they hate your guts. Mm-hmm. But it's a different thing. It's like, okay, we all live in the same society. This is their value system. We all live in the same society. You're a human being just like me. Maybe I don't like you, but I'm going to treat you with a certain amount of respect because you're another human being. And I won't go past that level of respect, even if I freaking hate your guts. And that's just society. And I think there's some sort of social contract that we all have to ascribe to, where we're like, okay, this is good. We all live together. So let's agree on some general values that we can say are good for our kids, good for role models. And I think sports figures are role models. So we wanted them to espouse those values. Mm-hmm. And that's something changed in the 80s and 90s. I wasn't here in America in the 90s, but when I came back in 98, it seemed like a very different culture. Maybe I was coming from different lens, but I left in 92 and I came back in 98. And it seemed like, sports culture was somewhat different. MMA has always been interesting because it drew from two groups. It drew from like the Tank Abbotts of the world, which are barbarian street fighters, and had no compunction of, drinking a beer and then going to the ring or, just being completely, reckless and wild and, selling up the human cockfighting. And then you had the Machidas of the sport who were always like, or the George St. Pierre's who were always like, I'm a martial artist. I hold myself to a higher standard. And you could say what you want about Dana White, but during the Zuffa period, there was more of an attempt to bring UFC closer to what is expected of mainstream basketball, baseball, football. There's a uniformity of what we wear. There's a uniform, not uniformity of uniform. There, there's you can't, go on Twitter and be homophobic and racist. They've kicked people out for that. Mm-hmm. You can't, there's a behavior that they want and they expect. And that was certainly not true in the early 90s. I mean, Tank Abbott would go on and say whatever he wanted and, and Semaphore Entertainment would be like, cool, you do that. That was the old people who owned it. And now that the UFC Zuffa sold it, they are really going closer to the pro wrestling model where it's like be as controversial as you want, throw a dolly through a window, be crazy, be pro wrestling, be a heel. That's going to sell tickets and we're going to make some money. And Well, this will be one of the biggest UFCs in a long time. You know, having Conor McGregor not sanctioned for his behavior doesn't bode well for the sport, in my opinion, as a whole, because it's still part of society. We want to encourage people to be like Conor McGregor. It's come on, it's and then eventually we have to constantly up the level of antics. Until what?
Yeah.
Until where's it going to go? You know, like if antics are going to sell, when does it not become enough? What, throwing a dolly through a bus and almost hurting people is not enough? What are we going to do? Yeah. Like now we're going to have gang fights in the street? I
would say that in my limited knowledge, I would say it's going to be more like a cyclical thing where it's going to get to a certain point and then people are going to be like, all right, let's get back to our roots. Let's go back to martial arts and MMA. And stop playing around like jerks, and then it's going to ramp up again. Yeah,
the thing is, I think you're right. And the thing is, this happened in Japan where the MMA was like this huge boom, and then because of some links to organized crime and just saturation, it died. And that's the problem, is that if we go too far in the antics, the cyclical aspect of that will mean that the sport will really suffer.
Yeah.
And then what's going to happen? But MMA is here to stay. So that's and even I'm from the days where it wasn't on TV. It was barely on. It wasn't on pay-per-view for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as there's a place for my fighters to test themselves, I'm okay. I mean, I fought in New York when it was in a gray zone.
Yeah. It just became illegal or legal a couple years ago.
Right. It wasn't really illegal, but we were in a gray zone. We weren't really sure what was going on. Right, yeah, there's no professional league for sure. And so as long as there's always a venue for me to test our skills, I guess I don't really care, because I don't care about the razzle-dazzle. But I would like to see MMA become part of, like it was in ancient Greece. I mean, it was running, marathon. It was wrestling. It was decathlon, and it was all these other sports. And pankration was one of the major sports of the Olympics, and given a tremendous amount of respect.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, because in the ancient Olympics, do you know why pankration was taken out? Because corrupted by the Romans, became a blood sport where they were wearing, instead of wearing bare knuckle, they wanted more and more brutal, and they wore gauntlets, gloved gauntlets, basically brass knuckles. And they had these fights to death, became gladiatorial, and they became so crazy that, okay, again, it's the cyclical aspect you did. This is too crazy, and they, it became something out of favor.
Yeah.
I would like to see MMA up there recognized as a major sportive pastime that has a tremendous amount of value, and to the common person, and in a way to test ourselves and also understand how to protect yourself, and a crucible, an experimental crucible to see what is the best way to approach self-defense in one-on-one combat. And what that MMA has been around for 25 years UFC's been around for 25 years is amazing. You can just see it. The culture has shifted to understanding. We talk about it in the movies. Movies are starting to show what really works in a fight. People are starting to understand what real combat's supposed to look like. So there's a place for combat teachers to teach properly, and it's good for the martial arts world. Elio started a revolution when he had his sons and grandsons fight in prize fighting, a revolution that continues to this day, and that's great. And I'm very proud to be a part of that. And hopefully that revolution will continue on and evolve and take the sport in other directions. But if we turn it into the sideshow, I don't know what happens.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my opinion on that.
Well, I don't think UFC is the end all be all of MMA. I mean, it's great
but it is now. It is now.
Yeah. But if it went away tomorrow,
something would probably take its place, right? But that's
Bellator,
a shame,
right?
because right. But it's like the baseball. What's the
MLB?
NLB is the baseball organization for the last 100 years, and it has some gravitas because of that. And it would be very sad if the UFC just died, because it's really where everything started.
Yeah,
or if it just became a joke, like the Rampage Wanderlei Silva fight, which was like, or the there's so many that Bellator does that are just jokes, And but anyway, on the merits of the fight, well, you're voting. You want Khabib to win, or do you want McGregor to win?
Khabib.
Do you want Khabib to win?
100%.
Why?
Because I don't like Conor McGregor. It's plain and simple.
Yeah.
I just don't. I just want to see him lose.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I've seen him lose a lot recently. So
Well, he had a moral victory by
Yeah.
lasting 9 rounds. And I'm being sarcastic here, by the way.
of course,
Because Mayweather didn't just coast him.
no,
No.
But yeah, I don't know what I think it'll still go along.
How do you think it'll finish if Khabib
decision.
wins?
Yeah.
You think it's a decision?
Yeah.
I think if Khabib wins, I think Khabib's going to stop him. I think like 3rd round, 4th round, Khabib will pound him out.
I wouldn't be surprised if Conor McGregor is going to be defensive to have it go 5 rounds. Like he had a conversation with Dana. If it goes 5 rounds, I get an extra $1,000. Or $100,000.
Right, or they, it's like sort of inconclusive, and they have another match or something, right, to make more money.
Yeah, I don't. Unless this is like a huge. I mean, it's going to be a huge fight, but it's not going to be on the level of Mayweather McGregor.
No.
Unless this is really huge, I don't think McGregor fights him again. If he wins, I think he's going to dodge him for as long as he can.
If Khabib wins, right? Because I think if McGregor wins, they
have to have a rematch.
They're going to have a rematch,
Yeah.
probably, right? But you never know. Maybe McGregor will say no, but then he'll work his way up, and then McGregor will have to fight the other guys coming up in the ranks. I mean, it's not just Khabib. There's a whole bunch of guys.
I see McGregor. If McGregor wins, he retires
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
because he wants to go out on top,
Yeah, I think you're right.
and he doesn't need to fight anymore.
Right. I think you're right. I think if he wins, he's going to retire.
Maybe even in the ring.
Yeah. And also, I've heard other stories, which I won't repeat here, but that his lifestyle is less than fightery now. Like he's a rich guy and he's enjoying his money in a lot of different ways. And, that conflicts with the discipline it requires to be a fighter.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the game. If Khabib gets hold of him, the years of training, and Gilson has spoken about this, there's a type of isometric strength that grapplers have. And that is for lack of a better word, I call it the Greco squeeze. Greco-Roman wrestling is a lot of body locks. And you just squeeze and you use that to just manipulate your opponent. Mm-hmm. Khabib, when he gets a hold of you, you are really in trouble. Yeah. The question is, can he get a hold of him? And, you could see it with the Ali Aquinta fight. I mean, Khabib was fooling around. I don't think he was taking that fight seriously. But you could see he was fooling around. But there were some shots, some takedowns that he did, especially low single legs, that were really poor. And he was not able to hold on to his squeeze. Because if you squeeze towards the extremities, meaning the ankle, the lower calf, or imagine you have a grip on the arm, but the arm, it's more towards the wrist. Anytime you're gripping an extremity, that grip can come off. What you want to do is always grip closer to the shoulder joints or the hip joints or the hip itself. I always say grips and hips, right? For grabbing. Mm-hmm. You grip, you get your grip and you control that hip, whether it's standing or around. You have to control, and then you work your way up to the head. Grips and hips. And once Khabib gets those hips, he has those 25 years of wrestling his family, his bear, and just that Greco wrestling squeeze. Yeah. And it's going to be very hard for McGregor to counter that. Though he's no slouch. However, I'll give you an example. In the fight that Conor McGregor won against Nick Diaz. Towards the end, Nick Diaz got him against the clinch and just tossed him with a trip, with an outside, with Sasai Tsurukomiyashi, which is an outside leg rotating trip. Mm-hmm. And Khabib just went down. Conor went down. And Nick Diaz is a terrible takedown artist. Both the Diaz brothers are not good at takedowns. They are not. They just are not. They're not takedown guys. They use their strikes to get into their jiu-jitsu. Amazing jiu-jitsu fighters, but not takedown guys. So that someone, even a year ago, but also Khabib and McGregor took a lot of time off, not training his grappling, that someone of that lower level could take him down. So, he had a lot of trouble, but when he got it, he got it. Yeah. I think the minute Khabib grabs him, it's going to have a bad day. And he's going to be all over him. He is going to be a saber-toothed tiger just mauling a piece of meat. And he's done that to so many wrestlers who are really good wrestlers, really good. Like people who grew up wrestling, and Khabib has just gotten them and made them look like they never wrestled.
Yeah.
So
if he gets them, it's over.
Yeah. And I think what it's going to do is the first round, you're right. It's going to be a cautious kind of play. I actually think probably the first round, it's going to be a little boring. It'll probably go for McGregor because McGregor will box more. Khabib will be a little more tentative. I don't think the first round will be too exciting unless Khabib is rattled by all the accusations of mental warfare. He's going to come in stupid. He's going to get knocked out.
So this is either going to end quickly.
I think McGregor is looking to do a Jose Aldo again. Where he gets in. It's going to be really interesting. And I am not saying I can guarantee who wins, but I'm going to say the first round is going to be really interesting to see what is Khabib's mental state. Does he have that, what the Japanese call fudoshin, which is the immovable heart, which is the most important element of a fighter, is that you do not get over like, I'm going to fucking kill this. No fighter, any fighter who has that, you're just done. And again, it comes down to Sun Tzu. Conor McGregor is an epitome of a person who wins the fight before he fights. He's amazing. And can Khabib withstand it? If he comes in and he's just like, I want to fucking kill you, and he just charges at him and just goes at him, or wants to kind of put a display on him and does something stupid, McGregor's going to be all over him. And I really don't want to see that. Yeah, I really don't want to see that. I'd be surprised too. But, when the trash talking, you said you hadn't heard it, but it was very, 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 very effective. And very, actually very serious because he alleges criminal activity and all this. I didn't follow it, but someone was telling me it was really bad. And when somebody says something about your dad, it's hard to not get emotional. We'll see. But I have a few people who are saying that McGregor's going to win. And
Vegas doesn't think so.
Really? What are the odds?
Underdog. I think 200. Negative 200.
I am actually, for this fight, I'm actually putting money down.
Yeah.
I'm going to put money down on this fight. I can put my money where I've had a few bets. Bets with a couple guys for, lunch and stuff. But this one, I'm actually going to put money on.
Wow. I'm not that confident.
You know what? I was much more confident before that last round. I'm like, oh my God, he might actually do this.
Yeah.
To me, it's mental warfare versus technique. And when it comes to grappling, Khabib is superior. There's no question. There's no question. Khabib is superior. So how long can he, and cardio, Khabib is superior. Khabib has that ability to just keep going. The first few rounds, he looks good. And the last few rounds, he looks good. And, everything in between. He is a machine. And Conor McGregor's, not always looking great in the last few rounds.
Well, the weigh-ins are going to be interesting.
Yeah.
To see how they interact with each other.
Right. And also Khabib's always fought at that weight class. And Conor's last fights in the UFC were at 170. Those are issues. Yeah. Although Conor McGregor seemed to have no problem making 145, so we'll see.
No,
he's a professional.
I know Khabib has had some issues with his health in the past. He's pulled out a couple fights. Are we worried about that at all?
Do you know that was sickness, right? Was it? Or was it? I don't even know.
Weight cut. I think
weight cut. Oh, it was the weight cut. It was.
Improper weight cut.
Oh, so he has had problems with that. Okay. So yeah. I didn't follow that as much as I should have.
As far as I can see, he looks like he's in good shape and has been doing well so far. There's no Conor McGregor, that was one of his big things where he was calling him a pull-out artist.
Yeah. That's
another one of his mental warfares.
Yeah. And yeah, he always says that stuff.
Yeah. But worst case scenario, do you think if Khabib drops out, Conor said he would fight Ferguson?
Wow, that's interesting. Ferguson would just stay right in the pocket and try and trade with him. I think Ferguson's gonna have a little trouble. It's a different style thing. Like Ferguson's be like, "Oh, you really think you're a better striker? I'm gonna show you a better striker."
Yeah,
because McGregor has a bazooka in his hands. He just does. You don't want to play with that. You don't want to play with that. He can knock out anyone. Especially at 155. For 155, 145, he's very strong. 170. People are used to dealing with a lot more power, but but he has heavy hands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he has heavy hands.
Well, hopefully Khabib doesn't have any issues with his cut, and he doesn't have any problems with his health, because we want to see this fight.
Yeah,
I
really do. And there's some other fights in that card that are really
Ferguson
good. Yeah.
versus Pettis. Although I got Ferguson in that one. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I agree with you.
Oven St. Preux against Dominic Reyes.
I don't even know who Dominic Reyes is.
So I guess we're going to go with Ovens.
Yeah.
Light heavyweight.
Yeah.
Nothing really to speak of in his career. Hasn't knocked out anybody that looks...
Yeah.
Yeah, so Ovens. Alexander Volkov. He's exciting to watch. A heavyweight against Derek Lewis.
That's an interesting one. Yeah, that's interesting. And like two guys that are like kind of like,
Yeah. Your favorite is fighting next. Felice Herring.
they're going to say Damian Maia.
No, he's not. Poor Damian.
Yeah,
I don't know Michelle Watterson.
You don't know Michelle Watterson? She's
No.
the karate hottie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, she's actually pretty good. I really like Michelle because she's again, it's kind of a strike for diversity. That's one thing that's really awesome about MMA. I think it's the most diverse sport, and Michelle shows that you can be a woman who has a child and be a professional athlete. So she at a super high level. So she you ever see the workouts that she does where she's doing the stretching with her little daughter? It's like the cutest thing. It's really heartwarming, and she's talk about a great role model. She is a really great role model for people to how to conduct yourself, and how to be a mom and also a great athlete, great fighter.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, she worked. She's in Jackson Wink Academy.
That's right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, wish her the best. I don't know much about Felice Herring either.
Felice Herring, that's the woman who shows her butt all the time. she's all right. She's all right. But
I think it's going to be a great event, and the preliminary card.
This is what I'm just going to say. Let's go back to the Khabib thing just for a second. Everybody watch the first round. The first round will tell us how this is going to play out. If Khabib is calm and cool like a cucumber, it's going to be a bad night for McGregor. If he's not, it's McGregor's thing.
Will you be able to tell when he walks in?
I'm not so good at judging that. But I think what I'm good at judging is when they start moving around, when they start actually moving. Not the expressions. All the fighters are different. They have different expressions. Sometimes they look like they're going to absolutely just lose, and then sometimes you're like, oh wow, he looked like he was going to go on a kill, and he mentally fell apart. So I when they start moving, when they start engaging with each other's energy, it's better when I can tell. So I think the first 30 seconds are going to tell us really what's going on. And Conor McGregor is going to, they're actually not allowed to do it, but Conor McGregor is going to be trash talking the whole fight, and he's going to try and get in Khabib's head. But Khabib's just going to do it to him back, And I'm really excited for this fight. It's not. I hate Khabib. I mean McGregor. I hate Khabib, and I'm like on a hypocritical side because I don't want to support a guy who did criminal activity who shouldn't be allowed to fight. But at the same time, it's fascinating to see these two styles, very divergent, striking based, grappling based, also mental warfare based, and more like just I will give smash. Like he's like just quiet.
Yeah.
He's the quiet man. The guy who just comes in and gets business done. And you don't get more stoic than Khabib. And I am very much interested to see this how it plays out.
Yeah.
I will be on the edge of my seat.
I think McGregor should come in with one of those hats on.
Oh, the traditional ones?
Yeah.
Well, he's actually playing up the Chechen Dagestani thing, which is politically very dangerous. But he always treads those lines. With the Mayweather fight, there's also one reason I don't like him, which he was treading racial lines too, doing some types of promotion that I found to be racially charged, but it definitely whipped up the fight. I mean, that was the most watched fight ever
Yeah.
It's crazy. And it was just a sideshow. But it just shows people want drama. And this fight won't be, the casual person is not as attracted to this fight as they were to the way, because boxing versus MMA and all this white versus black and this and that and all this. There's so many like subtexts that happen in that fight. But this one, for people who like MMA, everybody's going to watch it. People who are MMA fans, even casual MMA fans, they're going to watch it, because we've been waiting years to see Khabib fight who is someone who's considered the best in the division, the 155 and 145, and see what happens. And the fight is happening. I'm torn, but I am glad it's happening. And as a researcher, to see how he's going to deal with McGregor's takedown, with McGregor's striking, and how he's going to deal with McGregor's movement, and how he's going to deal with McGregor's mental warfare. And McGregor, I can't stand him, but he fascinates me. That he finds ways to win. I mean, the guy finds ways to win.
Yeah.
And mental strength, and this goes to self-defense. It goes to competitive martial arts. It goes to MMA, whatever. Mental strength is so critically important. How to get in your opponent's head and break their will is just crazy. I'll tell you a funny story that I had. This was a jiu-jitsu match, right? But this wasn't an MMA match. But I had a jiu-jitsu match, and I'll tell you, at that time, I was not good at finishing the rear naked choke. I was not. I'd always struggle finishing it. But so I got on this guy's back, and time was running out, and I got on his back finally, and of course, so I'm like, I whispered in his ear, I go, "You're so dead now." And then the guy he freaked out, and then he gave me the neck.
Oh my God.
So then, mental warfare is a part of the fight. And then I won the fight, and
funny.
I knew I was like, but I whispered, like, "You're so dead now," right in his ear, because I'm right behind him. And the guy freaked out, and he gave me the neck, So breaking people mentally, or throwing them off their game, throwing off of their fudoshin, their immovable heart, that iron will that keeps you on the straight and narrow mentally, being able to perform, getting you out of your alpha state. The alpha state is that state of high level performance. Getting in people's head and messing with that alpha pattern, messing with their rhythm, messing with their sense of, how to do stuff. That is huge. And Conor McGregor just is amazing at it. And I want to see if he can break Khabib's sense of, himself.
It's a good experiment. Yeah.
It is. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
So that's my take on that fight, and I'm gonna be sitting on the edge of my seat watching it.
Yeah. What's the official bet then? We have. I'm thinking decision. You're gonna go.
I'm gonna go either way. I think it's gonna be a stoppage. No, I think I don't think he's gonna submit. Well, he might. I think it's gonna be like, if Khabib wins, it'll be ground and pound, like a referee stoppage.
So we're both going with Khabib.
Yeah.
I'm saying decision. You're saying stoppage.
Yeah, I think a stoppage in the third or fourth round. But honestly, it could be like Stipe Miocic and Ngannou, where he just beats him. He does the same thing. He takes him down and beats him. Takes him down and beats him. And then, But I actually think when you put McGregor in to kind of jiu-jitsu positions where he gets hit, he does stupid stuff. Like you could see that with the Nick Diaz fight. He just turned and gave up his back. And I'm sure he's improving. I mean, he's training with a lot of people, but I don't think he's training with the right people. Although I'm not in his camp. I mean, the people I saw, I'm like, maybe that's not the best guy to train with. You should train with someone else who mimics Khabib's game a little better. But he has this Chechen Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He has Dylan Danis, who fights in Bellator, who's a Jiu-Jitsu guy. But they don't really replicate Khabib's style very well. But I think when he feels that pressure, it's gonna be, he's probably gonna do something stupid. Though he's a lot better than he used to be, and he's definitely no slouch in grappling. So, and this is not a trash talk, because I'll tell you, when you're on the bottom and people are punching in the face, a lot of people, even the best grapplers do stupid things. Like the Carlson Gracie has that old saying: take a black belt, punch him once in the face, he becomes a brown belt. Punch him again, he becomes a purple belt. Punch him again, he becomes a white belt. You when people are mashing your face in, you do stupid things.
Sure.
that's it. That's that's the thing. Let everybody check out what happened in the first round. That is going to be where we know what's going to happen in the fight.
All right, you heard it here first. First round is going to decide everything.
Yeah.
Keep you updated on that. It's a good thing I didn't do any like jiu-jitsu, because if I got on somebody's back, I would have whispered in the ear, "You look really cute today."
No,
that might have worked. I don't know, unless he was happy about it. I don't know.
I have a way of like torturing my students, and a lot of times I'll put them in bad positions, and I'll actually tickle them. And the funny thing is, people think it's like I'm being a jerk, but evolutionarily, your tickle response and your pain response are neurologically the same as well. Because why did we evolve to be ticklish? To prevent against like mosquito bites that have malaria or the tsetse virus or dengue fever, or a thorn that was that could spread bacteria. So the like tickling or feeling something on your skin is a very strong evolutionary response. That if you get bitten by a fly with dengue fever or tsetse virus, you're dead. So that's just as life threatening as being stabbed. So neurologically, the pathways are almost identical.
Interesting.
And so it's a way of inducing pure, complete panic without actually ever hurting someone and forcing them to stay calm and remember their training. But I do that all the time, and people hate it. And it was done to me. It's a way to teach people to stay calm in a way that never hurts them. And really develop a really important sense of like calmness under chaotic situation.
Boy.
And so you do that. And the other way to do it, what I do in the self-defense class, I was doing it the other day, is, I train with the electrified knife, where obviously we're not stabbing each other with real knives, because that's insane, and not practical, because nobody wants to kill each other. So you actually don't stab each other. What we do is we have a fake knife that has an electric charge. And the minute you feel that charge, you start freaking out. Sure. And of course it hurts, but it's not injuring you at all. It doesn't injure you. It's not even as strong as a regular, like a taser. It feels like the worst, I don't want to say pinch, but it feels really painful for a millisecond.
Like a snap of a rubber band. On your
yeah, exactly. Like somebody like really hard.
Yeah.
For a second, it's really agonizing, but then it just goes away. But you're like, oh my God, Jesus Christ, I don't want that to happen again. And then suddenly you're like, you're in that world of panic, and you've got to stay mentally focused. And, like I said, there's no more important martial arts skill. And the Japanese do put an emphasis on this, maybe it's sometimes too much, but there really is no more important martial arts skill than your immovable heart. And let's see how much Khabib's heart is immovable, how much Fudoshin he has, given the massive trash talking that Conor McGregor has. And then let's see what Conor McGregor has when Khabib is punching him in the face. See what he can muster.
He has an immovable face.
Yeah, immovable face. So that's my take. That's what I think.
All right.
Anyway, it's a great birthday to Elio, and to see this great fight a week after that is kind of historic and interesting.
Very good. And bring that taser knife next Monday, because I'm going to get...
Okay.
I'm gonna tase you.
So, but tase
don't tase me, bro.
Oh, you want me to bring it? All right. I don't know if I can carry it on the subway.
Oh, that's
it's illegal.
It's a weapon.
Yeah. No, it's not actually a weapon, but
I'll come to you then if I lose.
All right. So what's our bet? You're gonna say decision. I'm gonna say third to fourth round, or I'm gonna say stoppage.
Yeah,
third,
you don't have to get
fifth.
specific.
Yeah, third stoppage.
Stoppage.
I'm gonna say if Khabib wins, it's stoppage. If McGregor wins, it has to be stoppage. I mean, there's no other way McGregor's going to win.
Are you saying Khabib wins with a stoppage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Khabib wins with a stoppage.
Because McGregor wins, neither of us win.
Yeah, right.
We have to shock each other.
Right.
We'll hold the knife together.
All right, yeah, that's it. Okay, if we both lose, we'll both
seppuku. We'll seppuku. Is that the right thing? That's where the samurais got themselves.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know my terms. I need to learn more Japanese.
I'll teach you.
All right.
I was a translator for 15 years. Well, more than 15 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I translated for the UN project in
Domo
Japan.
arigato, Mr. Roboto.
You don't need that last part.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Mr. Roboto.
What if his name's Mr. Roboto? All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We'll check in next Monday with our take on the event, and hopefully neither of us get tased. So good luck, Conor McGregor.
Tased and confused.
Yeah, that's the title of the episode. Perfect. Please rate, subscribe, and share the show, and tell your friends. And we'll see you next week.
Take care. Bye-bye.